is Katrina. I'm a registered dietitian with Revive Wellness and my Viva Plan. Today I wanted to spend a couple of minutes talking about 5 meal tips for camping. With this nice weather and summer season, I've been getting a lot of questions from my clients about some nutrition tips for camping. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to do a quick webinar on. So we're going to go through 5 tips today. The first one I want to talk about is about establishing a plan, making that meal plan, having a plan to go into the weekend for your meals. And I want to stress how important this is. I actually think it's the most important one because it can absolutely make your weekend a success in terms of meals, or make it completely not a success if you don't have that plan. And why I say this is because we don't want to be running into food shortages. If you don't make a plan and you don't plan enough food, you very well could be running out of food during your weekend camping. You may be out far in the wilderness and not have grocery stores close. So making sure that you do have that plan, knowing you have enough food to get you through your weekend is really important. But on the opposite end of that, if you don't make a plan, maybe you get too much food and you actually end up wasting food spoilage. That's not a goal of any of ours as well either. So a couple reasons for that is that great idea to have that meal plan going in. But the third one is actually because having that meal plan will really help to emphasize that meal balance. And meal balance is going to be really important, eating nourishing foods when you're camping, because you want to have lots of energy when you're camping. When I go camping, I love to be active. I love to go hiking. I love to go fishing. I love to play yard games. So all of these require lots of energy. And if I'm not eating balance, I'm not going to have that energy to get me through my weekend. So this is why that meal plan is going to be so essential to a successful camping trip. So what I do for my meal plans is I keep it really simple. I have a pen and paper. I write down the days of the week that I'm going to be camping, and I write down which meals I'm going to need to be having in those days. From there, I plan out what I'm having for the meals, and then I go into the grocery store with a list and a plan. And so I know with confidence I'm going in with roughly about the right amount of food to get me through that camping weekend. Another tip when you're making that plan is to think about what types of cooking are you going to be doing. Do you have a camping stove? Do you have a barbecue? Most of us will have a fire, so maybe keeping in mind recipes to use over the fire, which we will be talking about later today as well. But keeping in mind those cooking styles that you're going to need to think about when you're making that plan. So the second tip I wanted to talk to you today is about breakfast. So having that balanced breakfast is going to be really important. It helps us to get energy right off the hop as soon as you wake up, to start your day with a good, solid, nutritious breakfast. And the 2 pieces that are really important about breakfast is getting a high protein and high fiber breakfast to keep your energy levels nice and high, to keep you feeling full for longer periods of time so you don't run into hunger an hour after you eat your breakfast. So I'm going to give you 2 ideas of a couple of breakfasts that work really well for camping. The first one is an oatmeal, and I love this one because it doesn't require quite virtually any refrigeration or cooler space of those ingredients. So have some dry oats ready to go, and throw in some boiling water. So you're going to need something to boil the water with, obviously. To increase the protein and to give your body a little bit of dairy, of calcium, I would suggest using skim milk powder. This one is great. It's a shelf-stable ingredient, so it doesn't need to go in the cooler. So it makes lots of room for other essential pieces in that cooler. To increase the protein a little bit more, I would encourage you to either stir in some nut butter, so maybe some peanut butter or some almond butter into the oatmeal. That works really nice. Or top it off with some nuts like walnuts or sliced almonds to increase the protein that way. And then to increase the fiber and give yourself a little bit more carbohydrates for the energy, I would suggest adding in some fruit. Or if you don't want to bring fruit, you could easily do dried fruit to get that same benefit. So there's a nice balanced oatmeal for you that's going to be really high in protein and fiber to get you through that morning. Another option is more of the meal prep. It's more of a meal prep way, and this is actually a way where you can utilize egg cups. And so what I mean by this is Lisa, our chef, has done a webinar on some ways to cook eggs, and she has demoed this recipe. So we can provide you with the link if you're watching this on YouTube, and if you're on our website, you can find the webinar in our blog section on Lisa's webinar on how to cook eggs. But this egg cup recipe is really great because you can prep it before you head out the door. You can actually freeze this as well, so it will kind of defrost as you're camping throughout your weekend, so it'll kind of act as an ice block for you. And these egg cups provide you with a lot of great protein. So really great protein source first thing in the morning. You're going to want to pair that with some sort of grain or carbohydrate. So toast would be an excellent example. And then I would suggest adding some dairy to that as well. Maybe it's some Greek yogurt or a milk alternative like a soy milk if you don't do dairy, or just plain milk to get the calcium for your body there and the extra protein. You could also throw on some additional fruit there to get some additional fiber and carbohydrates. So those are 2 breakfast recipes to try. The third tip I wanted to talk about is regarding lunch. So I want to stress the importance of lunch. This is the midday meal. We need that fuel to get us through the day of camping, to be able to enjoy the weekend, whether it's hiking, fishing, lawn activities, whatever else you love to do camping. The balanced lunch will get you there. So one of the biggest tips I love to tell my clients and for myself to do is to pack along a vegetable tray. So before I head out the door camping, I make sure that I have a Tupperware container full of already prepared vegetables. Carrots, cucumbers, cherry tomatoes, celery sticks, snap peas, anything that's in season that you can munch on. So this is a great way to have the vegetable component coming in from the lunch. We also with lunch want to make sure that we're getting in some protein to help keep our energy levels nice and high and to help us feeling full and satisfied. And we also want to have some whole grain and a little bit of healthy fats coming in too. So for the whole grain, you can easily do like a whole grain cracker, like a Triscuit would work really well. Or you could do something like a pita, for example. This would work well with the veggie tray as well. And with the veggie tray, for the protein piece, you can do some hummus. So I like to buy just store-bought hummus for convenience when I'm going camping. So you can dip both the crackers or the pita in that hummus as well as the vegetables. You could increase the protein too a little bit by adding in some cheese, pair it with that crackers for kind of like a cheese and cracker idea. Or you could even do something like pepperoni sticks or jerky, something along those lines. Or even utilizing those egg cups here for the eggs, or even hard-boiled eggs would work well in this type of lunch. Another idea that I really love to do for camping is to pre-make a big hearty salad. What I mean by that is a pasta salad or a quinoa salad, so that you have that grain in there to give you some more fiber and some additional carbohydrates and energy to get you through your weekend or your camping trip if it's not on the weekend. There's a great recipe on my Viva plan called Greek quinoa salad. So this is a good one to use. You could easily top that off with some additional protein if you wanted to, like maybe you're doing a wiener roast, so top it off with a sausage, for example. That would work well. You could also substitute the quinoa for some pasta if you wanted to do a pasta salad. And this recipe has some nice healthy fats incorporated into the recipe as well. So that's a good one to use for 2 or 3 lunches, depending on your individual portions that you're having yourself or your family size if you have a big group. So meal tip number 4 is about dinner. So I actually want to focus on quick, easy meal ideas to do over the fire and emphasizing that meal balance as well, because that dinner is still an important meal to get in that meal balance. So same meal balance goes for lunch. So we want to have some vegetables coming in. We also need some protein and some grain and some healthy fats coming in for that dinner. So one of my favorite ways to have dinner over the fire is to do a sausage roast. So I like to get some high quality sausage, roast them over the fire. So that's going to be your protein. For the grain, I like to do a whole wheat hot dog bun. So that's going to give you some carbohydrates and some fiber. So really great. That ticks off the box for the grain component. And then lastly, we just need some veggies. So maybe you're pulling out your vegetable tray, having those there, or maybe you're using a big salad. I'm a huge fan of big salads camping for the convenience factor again. So any big salad would be perfectly fine. And of course, there's going to be some healthy fats coming in from the dressing as well. Another idea, one of my favorite ways again, is to do what I call tinfoil dinners. So you're having some tinfoil wrap, make a nice big square of that, and you're going to be cooking it all in one little pouch, tinfoil pouch. So you want to be adding some protein, some vegetables, some starch, and then some olive oil for that healthy fat or other cooking oil of your choice. But for me, I really like to do steak. So slice up some steak in there, some raw steak. It's going to cook all together. You're going to also throw in some mixed veg. So I like to do onions, bell peppers, celery, mushrooms, carrots. Any veg works really well in this type of meal. And then lastly, I like to throw in some potatoes. So dice up the potatoes or use baby potatoes sliced in half so that they cook nicely. And then drizzle with olive oil, wrap it up, and literally throw it in the fire. And it cooks in there nice and well. The juices meld together and it's really flavorful, quick, and easy. And you can make it on fire. So super handy. Okay, so that's dinner. So the last tip number 5, I wanted to talk about snacks and treats. So snacks are going to be important as in between your meals, because in between our meals, I tend to get hungry in between my meals, and when I don't have a snack, my energy levels tend to dip. So these are really important for me to make sure that I have high energy levels throughout the day. So some go-to snacks I like to do for camping are trail mix. So mixed nuts with dried fruit. You're going to get some protein from the mixed nuts and some carbohydrate and fiber from the dried fruit. So really great balanced snack idea. Another great one is pairing fruit with cheese or fruit with roasted chickpeas or lentils. These are often found in grocery stores. They have great protein and great fiber as well. That's another great snack. Or if you, again, wanted to pull out that veggie tray, have some hummus in there. Perfect balanced snack is there for you. And then lastly, just about the treats. I wanted to just spend a couple minutes talking about that. And treats are so important to include if you do like them. And for me, I love s'mores. And so you bet I'm going to be indulging in some s'mores on my camping trip. And I would encourage you to do the same. If you really do love that treat, maybe it's not s'mores, maybe it's something different for you, but incorporate that into your camping trip. Incorporate that into your plan. Plan to have a couple treats and enjoy them. If it's a 10 out of 10 experience for you, savor it. Really enjoy that moment. Treats are a very important component to our life, and I really want to encourage you to do that if that is something that you do enjoy. So that's all for today. I hope you guys found this helpful, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I hope you got some good tips to help make your camping trip a little bit easier on the nutrition front.